not living a lavish life means like you don't have a brand new truck, you don't have a mansion, like you don't go out and ride the side by sides or whatever. Like you're working on the weekends, like you just said. For people that are in your industry, and especially the younger guys who are trying to get into it and understand it, how do you think they might feel if they're in that same position you were a few weeks ago where clients weren't paying and a lot of that money had to come out of your own pocket to make sure everything was flowing? Do you think that position determines the boys from the men? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stay Shining, Stay Grinding podcast. I'm your host, Carlos Castro, here with my co-host,
Jose Gallegos. What's going on, guys?
All right, new episode number 8. Today's episode, we're going to focus on balance and attention. Big topic when it comes to people who are dealing with running a business, starting a business, and trying to go towards the avenue of starting a business. Balance and attention is super key and crucial. But before we get started, how was your weekend?
It's good. Everything got a lot done. I know my kid's starting basketball, so we had to go find him some basketball shoes. He's a soccer kid, but he wants to try basketball, so he's gonna have to juggle with both. Cause
basketball shoes are expensive, huh?
Yeah, for his size, yeah. To be honest,
yeah,
they're like $100.
Yeah, basketball shoes are expensive.
He's only 8, you know.
Yeah,
I don't even buy myself $100 shoes.
We have a friend that's really into shoes, and he tells us like, you know, the shoe, if like any other shoe is fine, like you don't have to worry about shoes, like whether they're real or fake or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to basketball shoes, like if you're gonna play basketball, like make sure they're legit and make sure they're on the price because they come with all that technology and stuff. What shoes did you guys get him?
He ended up getting a pair of Jordans, but I don't know.
You don't know them?
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't follow the
You're not a shoe
ones,
guy.
2s, 8s, whatever. But it was just a simple, very light, all black pair of Jordans that he felt comfortable, and he was like hopping around and running around in there. So yeah, we got him that. So that's what that. In the morning, I had to work on Sunday. I haven't worked Sunday in a while, but there's this job where he's a hairstylist, and his only day off is Sunday, and it was a good sized project. So I met up over there with an architect, and we went through the project details. We got the plans in place and everything. So I'm gonna be putting a bit on that. But yeah,
you're telling me things are going back to normal for you right now. You're starting to see, you know, business start to come back around. Because I know a few weeks ago you were kind of looking under rocks and stuff because it got a little slow for you guys.
It wasn't really that it got slow. What happened is that, for example, all the employees, all the overhead, everything I have, what happened is that the payables there wasn't enough cash flow coming in.
Oh.
So then I felt, like, oh shit, I got all this overhead, I got all these guys. So then, because with the rain and everything, a lot of the projects got paused, or I couldn't really continue them. So obviously that delays, and it was one of those where like 3-4 of those large projects were just kind of like on hold, or they've been delaying a little bit. And I don't like to. I'm one that like will ask for a progress payment when as we, when you see the work progressing. Yeah, when the client can really see like, oh, okay, cool, A, B, and C. So yeah, no, with the work, like we've been busy, we're booked up and everything, but obviously I can't drop the ball on one project to go to another project. So everything's in a
in better words, clients weren't paying.
Yeah. As simple as that. Yeah. I was talking to one of the guys.
Let's be blunt. Like,
I was talking to one of the other guys too, and he was like, "Damn, these large projects are kind of tricky on," because he's like, "I heard they only pay once a month," and I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much," because you start to see some progress in the project, and then you go and you ask for progress payment. But yeah.
So how do you feel about like guys that are in your industry as well, and let's say you don't really live that like lavish life? I think you should actually document that more now that I think about it, so people can understand what it's like. What I mean by like not living a lavish life is like you don't have a brand new truck, you don't have a mansion, like you don't go out in the pool or go out and ride the side by sides or whatever. Like you're working on the weekends, like you just said, but you should be able to document that so people can see it. Now, for people that are in your industry and especially the younger guys who are trying to get into it and understand it, how do you think they might feel if they're in that same position you were a few weeks ago where clients weren't paying and a lot of that money had to come out of your own pocket to make sure everything was flowing? Do you think that determines that? Do you think that position determines the let's be straight, the boys from the men?
Primarily, yeah. I mean, it's a tough spot to be in. I mean, especially, if you have all the employees that I have and all the overhead that I have, plus materials and everything. So it is a tough spot to be in. That's why I was a little under the weather last few weeks. I was just really like thinking like, all right, I'm just trying to come up with ways to like, bring in some cash flow or whatever. But it is a tough spot to be in because there's always that misinterpretation, or I don't know what the proper word is, but like of, when you're running a business that big or whatever. And I see it on the internet, like people are, having their best lives. They're driving like the brand new trucks and say, hey, I remember when I didn't have nothing and now I have a little decent sized business and now I have like 2023s and, F250s, 2500s, and I got it lifted with rims and I got a razor and I got etc. They're traveling to the snow, they're traveling to the desert, and I don't know. To be honest, I'm new to business. I consider myself, not the most educated person. I just know I work hard and everything. So maybe I'm doing things wrong. Maybe I'm underbidding.
Maybe you should go buy a nice truck.
I don't know.
Buy a boat. Maybe you should go try that.
From my experience, like operating a legit business, I don't have income from social media. I don't have income from any other place other than my business. I do find it difficult, to, when things get stuck, then you got to pull money out of your own, and I'm talking, I don't know, let's say 30, 50,000 a week just to operate my business. So I got to move things around. I got to make sure, and, obviously I can't keep going to clients and say, oh, I need more money. So I got to make it work so they can see the progress. Then I'm able to be like, okay, look, we got this, and this done. We need, 10K, 20K or whatever. But yeah, it could be that it could separate the men from the boys. I mean, like I said, I speak from my own experiences. I know I have a lot more to learn. Maybe other people are doing things differently, better. I just can only speak from my own experiences and what I've been going through. So yeah, it's not easy, but we're crushing it. We're getting there. It's like always. I think we talked about it. Like those, you run into those certain spots in life, or where you're like, fuck, and you like your hustle mode turns on.
It's just a bump.
Yeah. And then after, all the lump sum of cash flow comes in, and you're like, fuck, dude,
you're relieved.
Why was I tripping on? Yeah. So, but yeah, it's something that I saw in one of the comments on the last video we posted, and they were like, this shit never stops, like, because I'm one who I prefer my team to have a good truck. Like I have new trucks for my business, some new trucks. I drive the oldest truck. I drive a 96, Dodge Ram Cummins engine, 2500. And I love my truck, but I don't feel like I need to, drop $1,200 a month, $1,500 on something that, I drive around and like,
How much is that on gas?
Yeah, it's probably bad on gas too, especially if it, But no, my truck doesn't. My truck's good. I spend about $100 on gas, and I drive everywhere.
A month?
Yeah, in a week.
Oh,
yeah, a week.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. I mean, given the fact that I drive literally everywhere, and always looking at job sites, or if I'm at the office, or I go see the projects. But $100 a week is not too bad. I know my landscape trucks spend more than that. They're about 160, 200.
They spend more than your maintenance team?
Yeah, because
really
the trucks are heavier. Like when you get into like utility trucks or dump trucks and stuff like that, they're heavier. They carry more weight, and so when they move around, those trucks are giving us anywhere from 8 to 10 gallons a mile or whatever. When my lawn care trucks, they're lighter. They're also V8s, but those guys are dropping about 100 to 150, so slightly less.
Okay,
But yeah,
that's cool. So it sounds like you had an eventful weekend. Sounds like you've progress is starting to arise again. Sounds like everything's going. You know? How would you okay, so since we're on this topic, now that you've gotten slightly over the bump you faced, what would you tell yourself from the past a couple weeks ago who was a little stressed out, a little, overwhelmed and stuff? Now that you're kind of out of the midst of that, and this is not just for yourself, this is for people also who are in this situation at some point in their business, because everyone's going to go through this. I go through this all the time too, where you just hit a hiccup and you just don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you create all these false realities in your head, and you just paint that narrative in your head, and you think that that's what's going to happen. But then at the outcome, what ends up happening? Sunshine. And it's one thing I've learned in my process in recovery was finding peace within the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that we have to also understand as business owners, as entrepreneurs or creatives or anybody that's in a leadership position, understanding that the peace within the storm, and the peace is finding peace. So if you're in a situation where life is just feels like it's crumbling on you, find the positive things that are going to help you get through that one day, get through that 1 hour, even get through that 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Find something that can help you find that peace.
Yeah.
So what would you tell Jose 2-3 weeks ago, now that you're kind of out of the midst of it all? Or not of all, but somewhat out of the mist.
I mean, stay shining, stay grinding. Shoot. Yeah, I mean, just understanding that it's, like you said, it's just a bump.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that it's all there, it just hasn't come in here yet.
Mm-hmm. Understand
that it's gonna come in. It's gonna all be all right.
Mm-hmm.
We can make it work out. It's just, for me, like, we talked about failure. Like, who wants to, I don't want to fail. I don't want to let my guys down. So for me, I'm just like, I'm very hesitant to like have everything work out well for them primarily. And as for the business, then I'm willing to like get in like, freaking panic mode or whatever for everybody else to see the sunshine first. And I'm willing to put myself last and be like, all right, cool. Well, I got all that taken care of. Now I can, deal with
Mm-hmm.
myself. And I guess it comes in to today's conversation is balancing,
Mm-hmm.
finding balance, attention. Where are we putting the attention? Where was I putting my attention? I was putting my attention in bids and finding new work that, when I looked back and I said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, fuck, I haven't billed this person. I haven't billed this person. I haven't followed up on this payment. Why haven't I got this payment done? So balance and attention. I guess this is a good subject to talk about that, because, if you are putting your attention into the wrong places, problems can arise. You can fall into the wrong place at the wrong time. And, balancing, learning how to balance, because I could be stuck here. You've called me and I'm like, I'm just leaving the office 8 p.m.,
Yeah.
But balance, just having a right proportion of how much work you put in and putting your attention in the right place that can minimize your work day or whatever. You can get more done in 4 hours than, in 8 hours if you're putting your attention in the right place. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, when it comes to balance and attention, so I think we discussed this earlier this week about like what do we want to talk about, and you stated that you want to talk about attention.
Mm-hmm.
And attention comes in lines with, where you put in theoretical sense, like where do you put your eggs in a basket? Do you put your eggs here, 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 or there? That's where your attention goes. If you want to wake up every day at 8 o'clock in the morning and have a big breakfast and watch TV and then get to work by 12 o'clock, Don't be a surprise or confused when you start to notice that everything else comes late too.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found better for myself when it comes to attention is that I try to have a strict schedule at least from Monday through Friday. From Monday through Friday, I have a strict schedule where I wake up every morning at 6 o'clock. I do a self-reflection in the morning where I basically I do a journal writing where I reflect on how I was the day before and what I want to do for the day to come. And then I spend anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes reading. And I try to read a book that influences myself, but also influences my business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just start my morning off focused on business. I feel like as soon as you click that switch on, then you're on that mindset.
Yeah.
From the time you open those eyes. And another big thing I try to do is I try to avoid my phone for like the first hour to maybe 2 hours after waking up.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's how I tend to gravitate my attention. And then I finish with reading. I go work out. I get a little workout in for maybe anywhere between 30 to an hour, depending on how my schedule is. And then I get started. And I've learned doing that schedule and placing my attention in that sense has helped me find balance amongst myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because before I would wake up, I'd look at my phone, I'd scroll through social media, and then I'd get a little bummed out because I'd be like, oh, well, so-and-so's already awake and already grinding and doing their thing. And I'm over here like laying on my bed, like haven't even brushed my teeth yet,
Yeah.
And I noticed that I started to get like negative when it came to things like that. So then I instantly thought, okay, let me put my phone down, avoid the phone. That was the next step. And then after, okay, what can I do in the morning as opposed to being on my phone or scrolling or looking through emails and stuff like that? Work on myself, work on myself, reevaluate myself as a person in all my relationships, whether it's family, relationship, business. I just reevaluate myself. What did I do yesterday that was good, bad, and what could I do better? It's as simple as that. And, I don't want to I feel like I'm not going off topic, but like when it comes to attention, how you decide to place your attention and where to put it, it's going to determine the outcome of your reality. If you tell yourself that you're a piece of shit and you're worth nothing, guess what? Life is going to turn right around and give you that same energy and that same power. Like it's going to give you that. But if you tell yourself that I'm the best, I'm worth every second, life's going to give you that same thing. So we have control of that aspect of how we determine our lives to be with our attention. Like we have control of that. And we have control of how we choose to balance our lives,
But I think that's very difficult in the world where we live in, to take control of that and take a grasp of that. Because, for example, in society, let's say you're a young kid and, you listen to hip hop, you listen to rap, you listen to corridos. What's the influence behind all that?
Mm-hmm.
YOLO. I don't give a crap about anything. I got money, I got watches, I got jewelry, I got chains, I got, I spend my money at the club. And if you really pay attention, the attention that, the music industry, where they take away from you and they drive people's attention to the wrong places. But people consume that, and then, you want to start acting like that, and that's a high percentage of people that, get persuaded or they get influenced by, music, by, music's not bad. I listen to, but you can't, like if we're coming up and we can't live the lifestyle that, the person's living, with the flashy shit and the bottle popping and everything. Cause you're just starting your business. You got to look at it, where am I going to put my attention in? Maybe I should listen to a podcast. Maybe I should listen to an audiobook. Maybe I should look at some YouTube channels that are going to teach me how to develop myself, develop my skills, to bring more value to the marketplace. Focus the attention on that. And then, like you said, build structure within your daily routine. Put your attention into the right places instead of putting it, where it's cool, to listen to this, to act like this, to spend your money on this, to really, drive yourself down a hole that probably has a never ending, because when you want to be, the certain person in society or whatever, it's a never ending trend because there's always new trends. There's all, we talked about the tennis shoe brand. You buy, nice sneakers or whatever. I mean, sneakers are up to like thousands of dollars right now.
Yeah.
So you have a 9 to 5, you're working hard or whatever, and then you're putting your eggs in that basket or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're like, well, why am I struggling through life? Why can't I pay the bills? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Well, you may reevaluate where you're putting your attention to,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you grab that $1,500 and you buy a seminar program or a webinar. You focus on strengthening whatever you're weakening, focus on being a better salesperson or generating more money or something, so that I feel like attention in that way is very important, or where we're putting our attention, what we're looking at, because reading is kind of boring, listening and learning and developing can be pretty boring. It's not as fun, as exciting. It doesn't trigger that dopamine in your brain as a nice badass rap song, hip hop song, or like a nice corrido does, because there's waves into those things that you start getting. Oh yeah, I feel good. It starts making people feel like oh, that song was for me, bro. Like that guy. But realistically, like, just try to ignore all that. It's cool to listen to every now and then. Control the emotions in there, but really focus on strengthening and developing yourself as a person. I think that's where the balance and the attention is hard to, as an individual in society, and building your personal brand, your networking with yourself, developing yourself, and becoming who you really want to be, how you're proposing yourself. Hey, I'm going to become this person. Putting your attention in the wrong places can really drag you away from becoming who you want to be.
Yeah, it's understanding, for me, a big one was understanding balance, and balance was a huge component. And as I began to progress and as I began to notice my different avenues I started to take my business in, I eventually decided that understanding that balance is a huge important aspect when I started to notice that a lot of things were beginning to feel devalued or underappreciated. And then I began to realize that balance is important where I put my attention. So if all I do all day is put my attention in YouTube videos about mixed martial arts, and I don't pay attention and trying to highlight other things that are related to work or self, then all I'm going to do is be thinking about mixed martial arts. Or if all I put my attention in is watching corrido videos, because that's the thing that I like to listen to right now, all you're going to do is think about corrido videos. You're not going to be thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
So understanding that where you put your attention will determine the way you balance life.
Yeah.
And everybody's aware of that. Everybody can try to pretend and paint the picture of like, oh, I have it all figured out. But everybody knows what they pay more attention to and what they don't. And for me, it's so important to take care of family, business, and self. Like those are my 3 things that I pay attention to every single day and constantly. If I notice that I'm on my phone for too long and I'm at home, I try to put my phone away and try to say, all right, this is my moment right now to be home. Try to see if I could be a part of the family, whether by cooking dinner, having dinner, doing something together.
Yeah.
If I notice that I'm spending too much time with family, I need to start noticing, okay, what's falling behind in work? What's falling behind in self? Things like that also need to be accounted for, because if we always just gravitate our energy and our focus on one thing, that one thing is going to overcome and overshadow everything else.
Yeah.
And people can try to play the card and be like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. 100%. If you work 24 hours a day and you're always working, that's all you're going to do and that's all you're going to be. But if you try to put a little bit of time over here, a little bit of time over here, everything else kind of just, it naturally just arises together. Like I said, one big thing for me when I started, and this goes out to all people who are just starting, I I began to notice that I started to see a decline in how I took care of my health. Like
Mm-hmm.
I stopped working out as much as I did before. And if I did work out, I'd find distractions to avoid completing a good workout.
Yeah.
And then when it came to eating, I cared even less. Like I'd be like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna have a snack at 10 a.m. because why does it matter? And then I started to notice I started to gain weight again. I started to notice the belly started popping out, and I was like, oh, okay. And then with that came also like issues with family. Like my wife started noticing I stopped hanging out with her as much. Or, the kids started noticing I wasn't as present
Present.
as
Yeah.
as I was at one point. And all because I was putting my attention on the brand, or all because I was putting my attention is on the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to hear, things from those people who were affected to tell me, hey, you're doing too much over here. Don't forget about us. Or,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Carlos, you're doing too much. Don't forget about yourself.
Yeah.
And that taught me understanding that where I put my attention and where I put my energy will determine the outcome of my reality. And to be honest, in that moment of where I was just paying attention to work, I realistically I was miserable. Like realistically, I felt like a horse, like a working horse all the time,
Yeah.
every single time. So now that I've been in this consistency of, like I said, Monday through Friday, I have a set goal where I say, okay, I'm going to work out, I'm going to work, I'm going to hang out with the family for a little bit, get back to work. Once I figured out that balance, everything just feels so much more at peace,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like a robot. So,
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna jump on piggyback on that because it's so true, and sometimes we have to really sacrifice time with family or anything like that because when it comes to you have a deadline or whatever, you got to get it done. You got to get it done because that's what also separates the people that are winning and the people that are losing. When you have to get it done, you have to get it done. And when you say that right now, I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and right now he's just really focused and he's determined, and he's made some changes in his life, and he's not dealing with bullshit anymore. He's not messing around, partying or anything. He's really devoted this year, and I see it, and we talk on the phone, and he was like, dude, like this path that I'm on right now, it's pretty fucking lonely. Like, it's my family, it's me time. He hits the gym all the time. He's working on himself, personal development. He has a business. He's really working hard on his business. And reflect what you're saying. Like you create that space for the people that are your closest, your family, your business, yourself. You're working on yourself. And before he would party and be everywhere and be around the bullshit or whatever. But now he's converting himself into like this different person who he wants to commit to. And he's like, bro, it's pretty goddamn lonely because now people are, hey bro, let's go fuck around, let's go have a beer, let's go do this, let's go to the club, let's go here, let's go there. No, bro, I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. So you start pushing people away, you start pushing people to the side.
Yeah, and then those people start going away.
Yeah, so now you're just like, in a sense, like, damn, because you start to realize not a high percentage of people want to do what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is fun to be out at the club, to get drunk, to do this, to do that. But you start to realize a very small percent of people are willing to, dive in and go all in on what we're doing here. And, I'm proud of this guy, man. He knows who he is. I'm really proud of him. He's really been coming around and he's focused and he listens to our podcast and he's like, bro, good shit. Like, so, it is one of those places where you feel lonely for a little bit because you have to, put your attention in one place and balance your life in one place. You can't build this, this awesome thing, this business, this vision that you have and be a no fucks given type of person, You have to give a fuck. You have to care for your loved ones. You have to care for yourself, for your health, for, fuck, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy how you say it, how you're interpreting, how, that's how I live my life, I work hard. My son plays soccer. I'm always there for his practices. I'm there for his games. I don't miss any of it. And I have a lot on my schedule, and like I'm not as organized as you. I'm a little bit more of an everywhere type of guy, but I'm working on that. I'm working on building a schedule, but I still manage to show up to his practices, show up to his game, build that support system, because it's something I never had myself. You know, my dad never, you know, did any sort of sports with me. You know, I don't ever remember kicking the ball around with my dad or anything, but it's something that if you learn to balance and put your attention in the right places, it's doable. You know, it's doable, even if there is that portion of business and personal where sometimes you have to bite the bullet and say, you know, hey, I can't go with today or whatever, because you have a deadline or you have a goal you propose to yourself, and you have to meet that goal. So there will be those little bumps in the road where family's upset or kids are upset. We're like, hey, why aren't you around? You know, because we're human. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
So if we slack down something like, hey, you know what? I really have to get this done. Sorry, I can't go today, or sorry, I can't take you today, or whatever. But, you know, by forcing ourselves and disciplining ourselves more than anything, not forcing, but disciplining ourselves, I think you're able to make that work out for the better, you know, have a high percentage of like better outcome than less, you know, bad results and just feeling sluggish about it and saying, fuck, you know, because at the end of the day, I didn't do this or I didn't do this. So fuck, you know?
Yeah. There's so many ways to interpret it. There's so many ways to view it, you know, as long as you understand it yourself. And like I said, everyone's aware of what they're doing with their lives. They can try to paint the funny picture or the beautiful picture on social media that, hey, I got it all together. Check me out, guys. Look at the life I'm living. But as soon as they turn off that phone, they're like, you know, man, this sucks, you know. But at the end of the day, you're in charge of your life. You're in charge of what you do. You're in charge of who you decide to be around. And I'm happy for your friend, for him to, you know, changing that perception about himself, because at the end of the day, the people who are important are those people around you and who are with you, your family, you know. At the end of the day, that's the most important people. It's like you said, you know, people called him, hey, let's go hang out. And then you started to notice after he kept saying no, he stopped getting messages from the people, calls from these people.
Yeah.
And, you know, instead of surrounding himself maybe with people who were going to help him grow or progress, he started hang out with people who kind of brought him down a little bit.
Exactly.
But that's cool, because that's going to help him better understand his relationships and who he decides to surround himself with.
Exactly.
You know? It's very important on who you do that with, because at the end of the day, the people who stick around through the hardship will be there through the good times.
Yeah.
You know? And the people who are there through the good times might not be there for the hard times when they come around. Yeah. So it's like a, you know, it's a give and take scenario. It's a give and take situation. I actually, you know, I work with a tattoo shop, and one of their guys at the shop, you know, I talked to him a lot about, you know, self awareness and progression and stuff like that. And we talk every once in a while, and he tells me like, oh, you know, it's hard. You know, you know, he's starting from the ground up, and he's trying to build himself, you know, a name. He's trying to get recognition and all that. Yeah. And he's like, man, it's hard when you're starting. Like, it's hard to get things going. And I'm like, dude, it happens to everybody. When you start, you're gonna, and I tell people this all the time, when you start, you're gonna gain weight. You're either gonna gain weight, you're gonna lose weight, and everything's gonna be all over the place. Like, that's 100%. But once you get to a comfortable point where you're noticing that things are flowing as they're supposed to be flowing, that's when you start to put in those other cards. Like, okay, all right, now I have time to work out. Great, let me go work out. Now I have time to schedule my days. Let me schedule my days. Now I have time to focus here or invest in here. Like, it's part of the process of starting a business, especially for people who don't go the education route. A lot of things that I keep verbalizing this, and I keep putting this into perception every single time. Yeah. If we would have gone to school, if we would have gone to business school, gotten a business degree, a lot of these things that we're learning on the job, we would learn in college. Yeah. But because we want to be knuckleheads and be like, nah, we don't need that, we're learning it on the job. And it's part of the process. It's part of the situation. There's no going back now. We're in where we're in. And the best we can do is just continue to move forward, continue to build, continue to stay shining and stay grinding. Like,
that's what it is.
at the end of the day, as long as you're happy and your family's happy, what else matters?
Rolling right through it.
Yeah.
That's what it is right there, man. And then another thing too is, in order to, that's why I'm big on reading books. We're talking about reading books. You put your attention into books, and everything that you're curious about, you have questions about, it's already written.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all philosophy there, just ready for us to consume and put into action and put it into effect into our lives. So, you know, put your attention into reading books, get on podcasts, YouTube. But I guess then it brings up probably on our next podcast, we talk paralysis by analysis, right? I mean, you can consume a lot of things, but you always got to know how to put it into action, know how to put it into place in your life, in your personal situation. Everyone's different. Everyone handles things differently. Everyone thinks differently. Some people are just starting and they're already way beyond point of how I think, you know, or how you think. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're just, you know, they understand it differently. They view it differently, and that's good. You know, that's perfect. You know, more power to them. Maybe I can learn from them. But just, I'm really like, what I've noticed too is like when I started, the hardest part was like the first year or two, because like, you know, I was on the decline, and then now I'm like at a point where like now I'm getting back on the gym, getting back on working out. I have a buddy too. He's always pushing me to go to the gym. You know, I usually get.
Don't forget about me too. I'm always pushing you.
Dude,
don't forget about me.
Hey, I've always had nothing but positive things to say about you, dude. Whether it's pushing me on the right track, or reorganizing myself, and passing down your philosophy, because you have your college experience, and the structure of how you view things really helps me. Because you want to talk about knucklehead? I'm a knucklehead, bro. Yeah. I feel like I don't have any like education other than like books and stuff, but I feel like I'm a dummy, you know, but like I'm learning as I meet people, I'm like, how do they do things? I'm really observant, and I'll just consume and I apply in my own way. Mm-hmm. But I'm an action taker. I'm a doer, but I consider myself a knucklehead. I'm like, you know.
Yeah, but like you said, you know, if you're consuming all this stuff and you're not doing anything with it, what
good does it do? What good
does it do for you? Yeah. But like I tell you this all the time, like, yeah, you didn't go to school. Yeah, you can consider yourself as a dummy, but you're continuously applying yourself, and you're continuously, you know, trying to educate yourself and trying to put yourself in scenarios and situations that are going to better yourself. Yeah. Like you wouldn't be in this situation right now if you weren't doing what you were doing. At the end of the day, you could be just chilling. Like, you know, yeah, I did my bids, whatever. I'm good. I'm just going to kick back and watch a couple Netflix series or do whatever I want. But no, like when, even at that little time that you do have to yourself, like you choose to progress and choose to educate. And those are things that you're going to get to at some point in your career. Like you said, the first year or two, you're just hustling, and you are, and might be longer. Who knows? Yeah. Depending on the type of career you try to, you know, work towards, it might be longer, but you will get to some point where things kind of start to clear up. And what you determine to do with that time when things starts to clear up will determine where you choose to be in the future, you know?
100%. Yeah. Especially in our community, you know, I know it happened with me. When I first started, was personal development was big and all that, as I talked about. But then I also had the side of me, it was like, I would just chill with my, you know, either, I didn't even have employees then, but like with my dad or my, you know, drinking beer, whatever. And like after I started reading, I'm like, God damn, dude, 2 hours fucking around, drinking, whatever. Mm-hmm. Where is that attention going to? What is it? What ROI is it gonna give me? You know, start talking in business terms. Like, you know, I'm gonna sound a little smart this time. Where's the ROI in that? The return on investment. Like my time is thrown away there. Yeah. And we always talked about time is something we never get back. So I started shifting away from that and say, you know what, an hour of drinking, 2 hours of drinking or whatever, I'd rather put it into studying. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to develop myself. And then, you know, they're triggered the whole, we're like, oh, you're a little weenie. You don't want to drink anymore. Like, how come you don't come around as often? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you changed or this. Bro, well, I mean, of course we have to change. for the better of us, or my future. Obviously, it's going to look bad on the friends and influences that we're always around, like messing around or whatever. Like, whoa, this guy changed, or now he's high fucking. This guy thinks he's all that or whatever. Yeah. Like, no, dude, it's just our focuses, our intention are somewhere else now.
Yeah.
And not everyone's gonna view it that way. Everyone's maybe has their own realization where they wake up and say, "Oh shit, what am I doing with my life?" 5-10 years pass by and I'm still in the same place. You want to have that time where you start. That's where I think, like I said, my buddy, for yourself, for me, for many people, start to feel lonely and like, shit, this is a lonely path down the road. But even then, continue to push through it, continue to fight through that. What your goal is, what the outcome is, what your vision is, and only you can direct yourself in that direction. And if you put all your attention and you play your cards right, you'll get there. You'll definitely won't get there by listening to all the influences around here and hey, fuck that. You can send estimate later, or for yourself, hey, skip the video for this week or that week. You could make up for it because we have a trip. Let's go camping or whatever. You're like, all right, cool. And then I'm like, or you're just like, dude, I didn't get any progress this week. Now I'm slowed down. Now you have your, you said you had one customer that's pretty picky, like they're always kind of in your ear, and you're just like, that may determine where, like, hey, you know what? It's not working out. I'm gonna drop the ball. And you're like, fuck, I should have not freaking listened to this influences or whatever, when you have to get something done.
Well, sometimes the majority of that influences ourselves, though. Like, really think about it. Like, we almost psych ourselves out of finishing projects or finishing things because we're like, well, I don't really want to finish now. Like, I feel like I've done too much work, or like just push it back till tomorrow. And it's not really the outside, I feel, for me. But I do notice that it's myself. Like, I psych myself out into not finishing things. But I also, myself, also recalculate and regenerate myself to saying, all right, like, you should finish this, and all right, you should get it done. So yeah, I mean, it's the influences as well, and it's also ourselves. Like, we determine that too. We play a whole. No one's holding a gun to our head to tell us to go party. Like, no, it's us. Like, we're the ones that are doing it. And I want to go back to what you said about being lonely and stuff. You want to relate yourself to certain songs or certain hip hop songs or whatever. Listen to those songs that they talk about where it's lonely at the top. Like, it is lonely at the top. Like, when you get to a point where you're like, you're becoming successful, you're grinding, you're going hard. That's what they mean. Like, because you're no longer in that position of like, yo, I'm going to go party. Yo, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to live a lavish life, like whatever. No, they're talking about what it's like to be the hustler. And when you're the hustler, it's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
It's lonely at the top.
A good book, I think I told you about it too, that based on what we're talking about, it's our own intuition or our own voice in our head. But a good book we recommend is Outwitting the Devil. Really good book. Talks about, that influence in your head. Telling yourself to, not do the things when you have to do them. So, I mean, it's kind of like the old cartoon, the little angel and the devil, and persuading you to do the right thing and then the wrong thing. But that's a really good book. We recommend. I read it. I got recommended to my buddy, and then I keep recommending it everywhere. So, because I really enjoyed the book and the philosophy it brings, and help us understand, making those choices, putting your attention here, and figuring it out for your future and bettering yourself.
Yeah, I feel like for me, what has helped me progress and grow was like the stuff that I've learned and taught myself in the progress of like where I'm at today. Like, I did a lot of self-help, like from my early adulthood. Like, I did tons of self-help. I tried to get myself educated by as much as I can with self-help. And I feel like incorporating that into my business and incorporating that with others, like, helps me, myself, and everybody else understand like the philosophy that I live in. Like, there's times where like we're on the phone and we're talking about something and you're like, yo, I just learned this, and that. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I told you this like 2 months ago. And you're like, for reals? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, I told you this a while ago. So what I try to do, like, when it comes to like myself, I try to generate that in that thing of philosophy of self. I try to generate that to business. They go hand in hand for me, and I've learned that it benefits me and it could benefit others when I speak to them about this stuff. Like, we find ways of bettering ourselves, and how bettering ourselves can help improve how we choose to run and course our business, Yeah. So I think this is it. I mean, you got anything else to say? Any more input?
No. I think pretty much covered a good amount of attention versus balance, and how we can apply it, and how we can stay on the right track. I think we're good. I think we narrowed it down. Hopefully this helps, guys. Hopefully we gave you some good value today. And as always, stay shining.
Wait. We're not done yet. Whoa, hold on, bro. Man, yeah, you're jumping the gun on me, man.
Well, I felt like it was a closer.
No. I just said you had anything else to say. We gotta throw some show notes out there.
You gotta you gotta do the rewind thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So one thing I said, and I verbalized that every week we were gonna tell people and our viewers and to ourselves, because you don't even know either, the progress of how we've been growing on social media. Like we said, and I'm gonna repeat it again, we do this for y'all. We don't do it for ourselves. We don't do it for look how much we're getting. Like, no, we're doing it to see how many eyes we can get, and how many eyes we can get are going to determine if we continue or we just stop. Like, and the reality is, like, we're doing this out of our own time. We're doing this out of our own space, and we want to make sure the growth is there. So YouTube, we had 51 subscribers last week. Now we're at 62 subscribers. And then
there you go.
Instagram's a little rocky, and I know it's a little rocky. Me understanding like the metrics and the algorithm, all that stuff. Yeah. Like, I understand that it's a little harder to grow on Instagram. 87, now we're at 90. So it's a progress. And then TikTok, we're at 299 last week, and then this week we're at 580. So
holy crap.
We're making progress. We're making things happen, so we can give ourselves a round of applause for this growth that we've been doing, and it's there. If you apply yourself, if you put the work in, if you generate the correct information to people, it'll happen. You'll get the growth, and it'll happen. So don't stop. Don't doubt yourself.
Yeah. And of course, it's all thanks to the listeners, the viewers. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the love, the support. And if anything you guys want to listen to, drop a comment, drop a review will help us get the algorithm going as well. So, we do it for you guys, based off our experiences. Like I said, I may be a little knucklehead, but I know I could probably help someone that's starting or in the early stages. But and guys, if you listen to a clip or a skit, make sure you listen to the whole podcast before. I know there was a little misunderstanding on that.
You went viral on TikTok, dude. You went viral on TikTok. Okay,
not
so
viral, but
you went viral, bro. Be quiet. He went viral on TikTok. What did you? I think it's at like 150 plays at this 150,000 plays at this point. So he
300 comments talking.
I don't know if you want to talk for yourself, but I mean, do you want me to say it or do you want to talk for yourself?
I don't care. We already talked about it.
So in the process of creating the podcast and helping the podcast grow, we obviously have to put little snippets of the podcast on the social platforms. It helps, extend our community and the culture and stuff. And on one of the snips, Jose's talking about how it used to be in the past. And I feel, and everybody interpreted it as that's how he is now.
Yeah.
Do you really think that somebody with that type of attitude and that mentality would be able to be in the position he's in today? But that tells us where
attention is going.
Attention is going, bro.
Attention is going to the negative stuff, to the things that, obviously, what are all the positive things getting? Anywhere from 500 or 50 to like 500 views, right? 500 being already like a lot. 50, 30 views, whatever, on like the TikTok algorithm or like the other one. But we put one thing that people can really bite on and like talk all this shit on, like, dude, that thing just blew up. It skyrocketed. Like, the attention was crazy on it. People were talking all this shit. Like, and I'm looking at it like, bro, if you really look at the wider picture, but people focus on one thing and they grasp that from that, and people put their input or whatever. But I'm unbothered. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know what value I can bring to the community, to my business, to my company. And I'm unbothered, but I did tell him, like, yo, like, what's up with this? People are like misinterpreting, but just listen to the whole thing, guys. Make sure you listen to, if you're going to look at one thing, be, how's that word? Be like curious. Get in there and look at the other things.
Yeah. Be conscious of the fact that that it's not just that clip.
Yeah. But that's the internet, bro. Yeah. The internet is going to be, undefeated.
I mean, I honestly, I felt good about it. I was like, sweet, like, we're getting some traction, we're getting some growth. Me as like a person who who runs social media and does like management and stuff, like me, I was like, this is a gold mine, like this is good. But at the same time, there's a factor that comes behind it. People interpret it negatively, and they think that like now that you're this like evil business owner,
fucking asshole.
But at the end of the day, it's like, bro, that's if you listen to the whole entire podcast, as you should.
Yeah,
you'll get the other pieces that come with it and say, I used to be like this. Yeah. And then he talks about the shift and the change on why and that. So again, we're going to put this clip on TikTok. Hopefully, people will probably won't even see it anyways, but
it won't get the same attention.
It won't get the same attention because we're trying to be positive. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should be more negative.
Look at all the viral TikToks. Yeah. They're either, there's some stupid shit going on, or some viral, some shit that has some stupidity to it, or has some violence or aggression, or something towards street vendors, or something where it creates hate, tension, and division, and all that boom, that shit blows up. But you look at someone trying to push the right things onto people or whatever, there's less traction. Algorithms push it less. I don't know what it has to do with it. That's a whole nother podcast. We could probably go and unwind a whole different conversation based off that. But just know who you are. And if you're going to be on social media, you have to be on there to grow your business, to push your business out there. That's where attention comes into place. You want to drive attention, get attention for the right reasons. But just know who you are, what direction you're headed, understand your visions and your goals, and just stay on that road. Don't let all that noise distract you. Where I almost did, right? I was like, Carlos.
Yeah, you called me too, and you were like a little like, what should we do? And like me,
I was like, I just feel like it did come out wrong, but then I was like, you know what? If they listen to the whole thing, it is what it is.
Then that's exactly what I thought. I was like, I'm not gonna put something out there that, like what we talk about in this, like we don't edit this podcast out. Unless we have some interruption or something happens, like this is all raw. This is all, we keep it on there because we try to be as genuine as we can. Mm-hmm. We don't go back and like, hey, cut this out. Like we try to keep it as raw as possible, and as raw as possible as being ourselves, being genuine, and at the end of the day, like we're trying to do this to serve a purpose, not just for ourselves, but to a community and to people who are in our position or want to be in our position. We don't know who this might influence, or maybe people above us need a like, a readjustment in their way of thinking. And they're like, hey, I remember when I was also in that position when I was a young business. So yeah, that's it. I think you can close it out now, bro. You can close it now.
Handle it. Close
it out now.
All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap for this one. Appreciate you guys for listening, for watching. And as always, stay shining, stay grinding. We're out.
Peace.